11.5 seconds. I mean, 11.5 seconds. Just when you think the Islanders couldn't find a new and original way to lose that was more painful than the other losses they've accumulated during this rough time, they pulled a disgraceful loss in the final 11 and a half seconds against the Predators. We'll have our key takeaways from that game, a preview of Saturday's game against the Devils, and a very special first-generation Islanders birthday of the day. All that and more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, Gil Martin here. Welcome to the weekend edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast. So glad you could join us today, and thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. The Islanders fall to the Nashville Predators 4-3. This was a game the Islanders led in the third period 3-2. Gave up the tying goal late, gave up the winning goal with 11.5 seconds left. We will break it down for you. And man, this team just finds more ways to break our hearts right now. Some problems to discuss, some encouraging signs as well, but the Islanders need to get back in gear because right now, you know, this is 1-1-3 is just not going to get the job done to getting back into the playoff race. And this is a game the Islanders really could have and should have won. We'll also have a full preview of Saturday's game against the New Jersey Devils, which is the only game for the Isles this weekend. And we have a very special Islanders birthday of the day, a player who is a first-generation Islander who's has a son who also played for the Islanders. If you've got something Islanders related on your mind, you have a question, a comment, or a topic you'd like us to talk about, feel free to email the show. The email address, as always, lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on Twitter @LockedOnIsles. Excuse me. And you can follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter @Ice Wars, NYR_VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings. And I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. Always good to interact with fans during the game. So please feel free, and great to talk to the fans and interact and share your feelings and emotions about the New York Islanders. 4-3. But this one really was a heartbreaker. And, you know, you sort of break this game down and you know the Islanders should win it. But the problem is this team remains too sloppy in its own zone. And, you know, you're up 1-0 early. Great goal by Austin Czarnik, his first NHL goal in a while, his first goal this year. And Walton and Bellows and Czarnik were a good line. They had a great first. For the first 16 minutes or so of that first period, the Islanders were up-tempo. They were aggressive. They were playing solid Islanders-style hockey. And offensively, they had jump. They had hey, win a game. Just maybe more doing 2.5 minutes left in the other goal. Single out a play, but Sebastian Aho struggling the only defenseman on this roster, you know, in the lineup now who didn't start the season in the starting lineup. -2 in this game. Only played 14 minutes and 45 seconds. No hits, 2 block shots, no shots on goal. Just did not have a very good game for the New York Islanders. Some of his mistakes led to some of these goals given up. You also look at a situation where, that 14 minutes and 5 seconds for Aho would have been even less if Zdeno Chara didn't have to sit out 7 minutes in the first period when he went to fight to defend Aho. And I give credit to Big. Didn't get a shot in the extra 2 minutes. Aho took a cheap shot. Chara came in, defended his teammate, ended up dropping the gloves, and I don't think he was trying to bloody Yakov Trenin necessarily, but got his jersey over his head and really handled Trenin quite well. But the extra 2 minutes didn't help. Islanders kill the penalty and then end up giving up the 2 goals late in the period. You got a very good performance by Anders Lee on the power play. Sort of an accidental play where the puck sort of just deflected to him, but Lee was in his office. He got a backhander away, and the game was tied at 2. And then Noah Dobson continued to play better, and hats off on that Noah Dobson goal to Ross Johnston, who forechecked well, got the puck behind the net, managed to get it back to Andy Green at one point, the cross-ice pass to Dobson at the other point, and bang. So you're up 5 minutes into the third, 3-2. You're at home. You're a defense-first team. Varlamov was playing solid goal, and then the bottom falls out. And Trenin gets the tying goal on a play where, again, Aho was and made, and then on the winning goal, which came with 11.5 seconds left by Tolvanen, it was Andy Green who just got beat to the puck, was a step too slow, couldn't get contained. Positionally, his defense just to break down. And you have those kind of breakdowns, not able to score a lot of goals. You can't afford those kind of mistakes. If you're scoring 5 or 6 goals a game, you can afford to give away goals once in a while. It's like Grant Fuhr, the Edmonton Oilers teams of the 80s. They would win a lot of games 7-5. And you look at the statistics and you're like, Grant Fuhr, why is he in the Hall of Fame? He gave up 4 goals and 5 goals in a lot of games. Yeah. A lot of the team was already ahead 7-2. It didn't matter anymore. The Islanders need to do better because they don't have the capacity to score. 3 goals for the Islanders is a lot of goals. And even without a goal, which is and first 15 minutes or so of the first period, which he's not getting it done. Kyle Palmieri, -3 in this game. No shots on goal. No shots on goal. Bell's had an assist, also shots on goal. Zach Parise, no shots on goal in this game. And I think we're getting to the point, and I hate to say it, where we have to start thinking maybe it's time for Zach Parise to have a seat and let someone else plus play in. Almost 12 minutes on the ice, had an assist, 8 hits in 12, far pacing the Islanders, who were a little less physical. Those 5 hits, 4 hits are pluses. Matthew Barr's control, made some good plays for all. Anthony A, snake bit now. played a hair under 11 minutes, couldn't get any pucks into the net. Only did he have some chances. It's frustrating right now because this is a game this team needs to win, but they just couldn't get the job done. We've got a lot more to discuss on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. In turn, we will preview Saturday's game against the New Jersey Devils. Plus, we will have a special Islanders birthday of the day. All that and more still to come on this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. This episode is brought to you by Built Bar. This holiday season, grab the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, or even better than a candy bar. Of course, I'm talking about Built Bar. It's filled with so much holiday goodness, rich with decadent flavor, covered in chocolate, but amazingly low in calories, sugar, net carbs, and fat, and high in protein. You get the best of both worlds. It's delicious and healthy. And there are so many flavors, you'll have a hard time choosing. You want raspberry or mint brownie, cherry or double chocolate, cookies and cream or peanut butter brownie. Built Bar will give you that extra fuel you need to bust down those mall doors and battle the holiday shoppers. Or if you're just standing in endless shopping lines, Built Bar can give you that extra something to keep you going. So throw one in your jacket or purse. You never know when you're going to need it. You're friends with Santa? Well, tell Santa to throw a few Built Bars in those stockings with so many flavors, they'd make anyone's Christmas morning a happy one. Want to cozy up with something warm? Here's a holiday secret. Dip your Built Bar into a piping hot cup of cocoa. Let it melt a little bit and give your beverage a bit of that Built Bar flavor. Plus, you'll have a nice melty Built Bar to go with it. And be sure to have a couple of napkins on hand. Like some of those marshmallowy treats around the holidays, you need to get your hands on Built Bar Puffs. They're light, fluffy, and marshmallowy through and through. Different flavors, all covered in chocolate, taste so good you won't believe they're filled with protein. Go to Built.com, use the promo code LOCK15. You'll get 15% off your order. That's 15% off your order with the promo code LOCK15 at Built.com. This episode is also brought to you by Stance. Stance, I'll tell you, I've gotten some items from Stance. They are so colorful, so comfortable, and you know, it's well made. I'm one of those people, I care about how things look, but they've got to be comfortable or I don't want to wear them. This is fun to wear. It looks great, and it's absolutely soft and comfortable, and I love it. Founded in 2009, Stance Apparel represents a radical reinvention of socks, underwear, and active apparel with a sharp focus on comfort, quality, and creativity. Stance brings the atypical aesthetic alongside some of pop culture's hottest collaborators for the ultimate in style and self-expression, because everything you wear should be a direct extension of who you are and how you feel. Stance believes that the perfect fit matters more than fitting in, that those who feel good do good. So see for yourself, register for an account at stance.com, and get 15% off your first purchase. Use the promo code LOCKEDON at checkout to apply. Enjoy the color and comfort of a life less ordinary with Stance. Well, the Islanders have more bouncing back to do, and to come away empty-handed in that game against Nashville, a big disappointment. Islanders and Nashville played two games. One of them went to a shootout. The other one went down to the last 11.5 seconds. But boy, does this team need to get back into gear, because that loss, it still stings, and it just happened. So that is a game they should have won. And if the Islanders end up missing the playoffs by a point or two, this game is one of those that you point to. So their chance to be back will be coming up on Saturday, 7:30 p.m. at UBS Arena. Still looking for that first win at the new home. They'll be taking on and hosting the New Jersey Devils, a team that obviously Islander fans very familiar with. And the Devils have now 10, 9, and 5 through 24 games, one game over NHL 500. They're in 6th place in the Metropolitan Division. Now, they will play Nashville Friday at the Rock. So they have a back-to-back. The Islanders will have one day off. Devils, 21st in the league in goals scored, 19th in goals against. And, this is a team that the Islanders should do better against. I know Mackenzie Blackwood blanked them earlier this year, but that was when the Islanders were very shorthanded, and now they have a chance to even the season series. The special teams are an area the Islanders should be able to take advantage of. The power play for New Jersey, only 14.1% conversion rate right now. That's 27th in the league. The PK a little better. They're 19th with an 81% success rate. Mackenzie Blackwood is the number one goalie. He has a 2.81 goals against average, a 9.13 save percentage, and a pair of shutouts. He is 5-3-3. Now, again, because New Jersey is playing back-to-back, check who's in goal Friday against Nashville. The other goalie will likely be in goal Saturday, against the Islanders. Right now, Andreas Janssen leads them with 9 goals scored. Pavel Zacha right behind him with 8. But it's Jesper Bratt who has 22 points to pace the Devils. And then Dougie Hamilton back in the lineup, 15 points, including 6 goals. Dawson Mercer, 7 goals and 15 points. And Nico Hischier, don't leave him out. Only 3 goals, but 15 points. So 12 assists. That places him second on the team as of right now. We look at the combinations. Is the first center with Zacha on either side of him. Jack Hughes is the second line center. He is improving. Andreas Janssen and Igor Sarangovic are his wingers. Dawson is the pivot on the third line. He is surrounded by Jimmy Vesey and Thomas Tatar. The fourth line, Michael McLeod centering Yanni Kuokkanen and Nathan Bastian. On defense, Dougie Hamilton and Ryan Graves are the top pairing. Damon Severs and Jonas Sighaler are the Smith, and veteran PK Span are the third pair of goalies. Mackenzie Blackwood, Jonathan Berman. My mains are IR. The Devils playing, they ended up losing by beating a team slumping even more than they were, and that's the Philadelphia Flyers. I'll tell you, Devils were playing better a couple of weeks ago. They're still better than they were a year ago, better than they maybe were expected to be. But this is a team the Islanders should be able to beat at home. And, this is the kind of game that if you want to get back into the division race and the playoff race, you've got to find a way to win. New Jersey doesn't score a lot of goals. They do have some talented mobile defensemen. We mentioned Dougie Hamilton. We know what Pace Subban can do. These are guys and the Islanders can't let them have room. The other thing is this, from an Islanders perspective, you have got to stop turning over at the blue. I mean, goals where players, I think about the game against Nashville, and you give up a goal where Noah Dawson clears the puck to nobody. It goes up along the boards. The forward is a step back to the position, to turnover, and opens up back in. Homemade. The puck, like this team wins. Now that's not what they're doing. More than anything, the offensive opportunities are starting to come. I think there are some lines. The Zarnak line looked really good. Ross Johnston and Cal Clutterbuck looked good together as well. Got to get guys going, though. Parise, Beauvillier, Bailey. These guys have got to start waking up and converting. And if they got a point last night against Nashville, I think they felt a whole lot better than they do right now. When we come back, we'll have some final thoughts about last night's game, plus our Islanders' birthday of the day, and it's a very special situation, a first-generation Islander whose son is also been playing for the New York Islanders. So more to come on the Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered all season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as the football season continues the march to the playoffs. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the sports action this season, so head to our new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. Yes, BetOnline.ag will give you a 50% match on your first deposit because you are a listener of the Locked On Islanders podcast. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. So head on over to BetOnline where the game starts. Time now for our Islanders birthday. This Saturday would have been the 80th birthday of Day Rio. Made a big splash. He started his career with the Boston Bruins back in 1965-66. Briefly was a member of the Maple Leafs, played only one game in Toronto, but when expansion hits, he moves on to the Minnesota North Stars, where he became a solid player, had 27 goals back in 72-73 for the North Stars. But Bill Torrey acquired J.P. Parise and Jude Drouin in two separate deals with the Minnesota North Stars just a couple of days apart in midway through the 74-75 season. And what Parise and Drouin added was goal scoring, steady play, and experienced leadership. In 41 games with the Islanders in 74-75, Parise had 14 goals and 30 points. And then in the long 74-75 playoff run, in 17 games, 8 goals and 16 points for Parise. He followed that up with back-to-back 20-goal seasons and then had 12 goals in 39 games. So he was on pace for another 20-goal season when he was traded back to the Cleveland Barons. And he finished the 78 season. That team merged with the Minnesota North Stars, and his final NHL season was 1978-79. 890 career NHL goals, 890 games, 238 goals, 594 points, add 27 goals and 58 points, 86 playoff games. Parise, only 5'9", 180, but tough guy, wasn't afraid to get physical when he had to, and just played smart, good hockey, and was a big addition to the New York Islanders. We go back and look at one of his better games with the Islanders. We're going to stick to the regular season time. Not going to go obvious a big goal. He's in the 74-75 playoffs against the Rangers. This one, November 4th, 1975, at the National Coliseum. Visit the Islanders, and in this game, it was a cheap goal for the Islanders. Gil Martin was the netminder, the Seals, and it was California getting on the board first. Gary Sabarin, his third from Bob Girard and Ralph Klassen at 4-3. Islanders fall behind, but the Islanders bounce back, and they bounce back quickly. The power play strikes with Mike Christie, Seals off for hooking. J.P. Parise, our Islanders' birthday of the day, gets his third of the year. Assist to the Potvin brothers, John and Dennis. At 39, it's all even. at 1-1. Then Ralph Klassen heads off for holding, and Parise gets another power play goal. The captain, Ed Westfall, and John Potvin with the helpers this time at 17:41. After one period, it was Islanders 2 and the Seals 1. In the second period, the Islanders shorthanded, and yet Ed Westfall manages to score his fifth. Dennis Potvin and Lauren Henning with the helpers, 3-1 Islanders. Dennis Potvin adds to it, his eighth of the year. JP Parise and Chico Resch with the assists at 8:02, and it's 4-1 Islanders. And then later on in the second period, JP Parise completes his only career hat trick in the NHL, his fifth. Westfall and Jude Drouin with the assist at 16:11. Bob Murdoch scored late in the second period from Dennis Marouk and Mike Christie to pull the Seals to within 5. And in the third period, Sabourin scored his second of the game from Klassen and Bob Gerard at 6:46. But after that, Cheech closes the door. Resch ends up making 20 saves to earn win. But for Islanders' birthday of the day, Jake, a hat trick. He led the Islanders with 7 shots on goal. He had one assist as well, was a +2, and clearly was the star of this game. Now, Parise passed away a few years back, but we wish him wisely, his son, Parise, finally joining the Islanders off to a disappointing start. Hopefully, bounce back, and it's tough to watch him struggle so much. JP Parise's birthday of the day. Yes, we're in December. I don't like to say that games in December ends, but emotionally, the Islanders need off the schneid at UBS Arena, and they need to win this game, preferably in regulation. Pick up the 2 points, and to get back into swings again. Do start to put a couple of wins together. Things will in a fairly short amount of time. Thanks again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On Bets. It's your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets is hosted by your boy Q with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. It's free and available on all platforms. That does it for this episode of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. Let's turn this around. And of course, let's go Islanders.